What a day.
Yeah,
Started off on a negative note, then subsequently going into the positive. Let's start off with Vodacom. It's the only red on this board. The worst performer coming through on the top 40.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, as we can see, the market had quite an aggressive rally into the close. And as you said, negative at some stage in the morning as well. Vodacom, they released results this morning. It was half results for the 6 months and increased HEPS by 6.9%. And I think some would say not disappointing, but having a look at other sectors, for example, maybe the banks, whereas they're returning between 6 to 9%. So for me, it's not too convincing, really.
MTN rallying 3%, and you've got Vodacom significantly underperforming the overall market and in negative territory. It seems that most weren't really happy with those numbers. Do you think, was there anything in there that that surprised us?
Well, maybe the dividend. The dividend was is actually quite generous. They're paying a very nice dividend, R2.60 dividend. And maybe there was a switch back into MTN. I think Vodacom is slightly underperforming the rest of the market, as well as MTN. MTN is a lot more aggressive in its structure going forward up into Africa. You have a look at Vodacom, they're only in 3 African countries. So I do think that there is more value in MTN. There's more opportunities at MTN going forward, and perhaps that's why Vodacom down on the day.
Anglo Platinum, what do you make of the deal with the community, given 2.33% equity?
Very good.
3.5 billion rand the deal's
it's about
worth.
6 million shares they're handing out to the community, so it's quite nice. Looking to get the community involved, they're actually putting into a trust. So they definitely will benefit from that, a lot of the miners as well as the local communities. Anglo American's actually done that already with a lot of their mines around the world. And it's proven very successful, especially in South Africa. So they understand how to do that, they understand how it works and how it works for them. And of course, showing in the share price of
Anglo
both
Platinum
Anglo
up
Platinum
1.5% in Anglo American.
It's a very small chunk they're giving away, 2.5%, so not a large stake they are giving to the community.
But it's pretty much in line with what we saw with BHP, which was up 2.25% as well today. So
by 2014, government has actually said that by 2014, most mining companies have to give up to 26% or at least 26% away to community. So it's going to start to unfold quicker and quicker as we get closer to that date.
With regards to Nampak, out with the trading statements, full year earnings could be as much as 25% higher. So a bit of good news coming through there.
Finally.
We're actually starting to see quite a bit of turnarounds, especially with the companies that have started to embark on restructuring strategies since the crisis, and Nampak being one of them.
Yeah, they've been restructuring the business for the last 2 to 3 years. Share price has been very sideways for the last couple of years, really underperforming also the rest of the market. Very unattractive sector at the moment, along with construction and paper. So it's nice to see them making profits, as you said, up to 25%, between 15 and 25%. Nice to see them actually doing some profits. So it could be a turnaround in the business. Thank you to the restructuring. There is actually a one-off item that they will take a big loss on, which is actually a business they have in Europe. They've actually just managed to sell that business. So going forward, it looks like they've got rid of that. So maybe if they can continue to perform, it'll be good for them going forward.
One company that is starting to restructure is Cadys, and this company reporting a 93% decline in half-year headline earnings. What is your sense on Cadys? Are they doing the right things right now?
Well,
giving the right message to the market?
Market conditions have been very volatile. So one of the reasons why their results were so dismal is because of trading activity. Trading volumes have really subsided. And also the asset management business didn't perform too well because of market volatility. So they weren't able to take as much management fees. And now they've actually just joined forces with BNP Paribas, the French bank. Which is part of the restructuring. They've been working on that. That'll only take effect from 2012 in their new financial year. And they say that'll be very good for the business as they'll start to market it to international institutions and investors. And they believe that their returns on their portfolios will be a lot higher. So fairly positive for them, although the low and bad results.
What do you make of construction right now? We had Ralvex actually out with interim headline earnings per share falling by more than a third. We're starting to see a few signals within the broader economy that construction is starting to tick up. For example, Invicta out saying that construction demand starting to be slightly better. We're starting to hear those smaller good news stories coming through, but not really evident in the construction company results as yet.
Yeah, look, it's tough. I mean, we've known it. They've said it's tough. We all know it's tough. Every time we talk about the construction shares, we always go on how tough the economy is. We've got interest rate decisions coming up this week. It's 50-50 whether we'll get a cut or not. We're more inclined to think that there won't be a cut. If there is a cut, it'll be better for the economy. We might get more growth. Maybe it'll help the construction sector. But at some stage, I mean, I've spoken many times on the show before and on Hot Stocks before about the construction shares. And at some stage, the cycle will turn for them, including Raubex.
But the question is, when do investors and traders get in?
I think you've got to actually look at probably a level and say, right, I'm prepared to invest at these levels and grind it out and put it in your portfolio and wait for the cycle to turn. Because at some stage there will be a turn in the cycle, and you've got to start to accumulate stock at some stage. You can't sit back and wait for it to continue to fall.
Lose out,
they have
obviously
come off quite heavily, so I think at some stage they will start to tick up.
We also had a fantastic performance from the financial. The bank stocks looking really strong. Nedbank up 3.6, ABSA up 3.5. Standard Bank also up just over 3%. Any specific reason that we've seen quite a bit of interest within the banking sector?
It goes back maybe to interest rates. As I said, expecting a cut, possibly 50-50, people on the fence.
25 basis points, 50 basis points?
I don't know. I think it would be a random guess. I think if anything, at least maybe if they were to cut 25 basis, look, I don't know. I think it's fairly, it's going to be unknown. I think it will come as a surprise, and I think maybe that's why the banks they might be pricing in an interest rate cut, a potential interest rate cut. So we'll have to wait and see on Thursday.
Okay, so tell me, how are you positioning yourself going forward? And we're almost done with the year. Default worries once again. I actually reminiscent of what we were feeling this time last year, but in a different sort of way.
Yeah, look, I mean, this fourth quarter, as I say, a lot of people are expecting the markets to rally. We have gone into the fourth quarter quite strong. Last month was a phenomenal month, the best month in the last couple of years, or best 1 month performance globally, in fact. And I think markets are or have been oversold. Yes, there is still a huge crisis in Europe, and hasn't been solved at all. No one really knows what's going to happen with Greece and now Italy and Berlusconi. There was a rumor today he's resigned, and then he said he hasn't resigned. So still a lot of uncertainty at the moment in Europe. But I think you've got to, if you have a look at technical levels, 29,000 on the top 40, it's quite a big level. It looks like we're pretty much at that level now. We're only about 1,500 points away from all-time highs. So, I mean, we're actually fairly strong. And I do believe you can buy the market. There's still growth. Alas, it's small. There's still growth.
Coming from a trader, right? Thank you so much, Daniel, for joining us today. Great to have you on the program.